Hello, everyone, and welcome to our video podcast. And today we have sweet and talented person from United Kingdom, Molly Ann.
Hello, so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you. You look very optimistic. Have you always been like that?
Strange you say that. I think at my core, yes, I've always been like that. When I was a teenager, then I loved listening to really hard rock music and sort of doing that thing. But I was always the one listening to. I was always kind of the goth rocker always had a big smile on their face. So it never really fit me to be a goth rocker. So yeah, I've always been an optimistic person. I think it's a part of who I am, especially now. It's a part of my job, and yeah, I think it fits my personality.
Is it difficult for you to be optimistic, or it comes to you just naturally?
For me, I find it comes quite naturally, and that's what I like to write into my music. Is there's a lot of people who do melancholy or even music that's depressing, and that's not a bad thing. I think that they do it very well. I've never been able to do that, and so my music always comes out with a really positive message, and I think that's important, and there's definitely a place for that, especially in a world that looks the way that it looks at the moment. Then there's definitely a place for happy, optimistic, positive voices to try and drive people into a better way of being.
What would you say to people who are depressed and sad at the moment? How to keep yourself in good spirits? What do you think?
So I'm also a yoga teacher, which is what I do
Okay.
full time. Music is my love, but not my job. And I have a mantra or an affirmation that I use with my students, and I say, "This too shall pass." Because everything is temporary, no matter if it's super, super, super good or super, 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 super bad. Everything that we experience is temporary. And so, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're in a really bad place and you're struggling, then this too shall pass. Everything passes over. If it's a storm cloud or if it's a fluffy, white, beautiful cloud in the shape of a heart, everything just passes over in the sky.
And how do these people come to you? For what reason? Do they come to solve their psychological problems? How does this all happen?
So people come to me for lots of different reasons. I get people who just want to have a workout. I get people who are suffering with mental health issues, or I get people that just want to chill for a bit, or I get people that want to do the opposite of chill for a bit. And so I get people coming for all different reasons, but yoga is amazing that it kind of unites everyone. Um, in the way that yoga is the practice of accepting who we are. And that's almost primarily what it is. And it includes meditation, it includes all the funky postures that you see people doing. But primarily, it's about learning to love and accept who we are as people exactly as we are without any change. So, yeah, I think people come for that reason as well.
Speaking about time, how much time do you devote to music and how much time do you devote to yoga? Or maybe you have some other activities.
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, yoga takes up a large amount of my day because it's my job. So at the moment, I'm teaching people like we're
Is it
speaking now.
like your own business? You don't have to go to work for this, right? You have your own clients, right?
Yeah, so I'm teaching people like via Skype and Zoom and stuff like that. Um, and that takes up a lot of my day. But wherever I can, I'll try and pick up my guitar and write some music. Especially, it's very, very sunny in England at the moment, which is a rarity. It's usually raining. So, I'm sat in the garden with my guitar writing music, and that's really, yeah, blessed.
How did you start your career? Tell us about your beginnings.
So I was probably about 11 when I first started really wanting to play the guitar. Before that,
You saw it on
I
television
don't think
or?
so I listened to my dad was a huge influence in terms of my music, what I listened to. I didn't listen to music that a lot of 11-year-old girls would listen to. I didn't listen to like pop music. I listened to music that he would recommend, so like Deep Purple, Santana, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin. And for me, the band that kind of really spoke to me as a really young person, as a teenager, but that also encapsulated that rock feel, punk rock, was Green Day, who I still love. I've always listened to a vast range of music. I've never really been the sort of person to box myself into one genre. So if I'm listening to hard rock, on the other hand, I also really enjoy classical music and I love reggae. And I obviously have a real like passion, fiery passion for folk, anything to do with folk, American folk, English folk music. I love Eastern European folk music. So yeah, I have a really wide musical taste. But yeah, my journey started when I was probably about 11, and then from there it kind of grew into all throughout all different strains, and I tried loads of things, and I was in punk bands, and I was in an acoustic duo, and I went solo, and now I'm in a band again, and it's just morphed into what I would say now really captures me, and my spirit into a little band, and I found some amazing people that play with me.
Do you have a fan base, a following?
Yeah, yes, I do. So I'm really lucky that I have got a really lovely, loyal fan base on, especially on social media, that tend to support me in everything that I do. So I've got fans from all over the place: Canada, US, America, Russia, obviously.
Are you doing
Which is
something special for them, or you just communicate over social media?
Yeah, it's mostly social media, and I think my connections to the US come through obviously the Americana influences and the country sort of vibe. So yeah, so I've got lots of fans, and the American fans, they love the British take on American music. They love that because there's a lot of massive artists in America that do country, and do it very well, but they have a lot of money behind them, and I think that some of my fans especially, they like to see how the British kind of present those ideas, and my music especially is a blend of British folk, and American folk sort of together, American country music, and so yeah, I think American fans find that quite interesting.
We were talking about folk music in Britain. Is it really popular in your country?
Totally, yeah. British folk is quite niche, so it's not in the mainstream. You don't hear it in the charts over here, really. It's had like a small resurgence, um, but folk music over here is definitely influenced um, by landscape. A lot of the artists that, and myself as well, we our lyrics tend to reflect, like, these beautiful places that you can find in England. It's got that sort of traditional flair to it, and
On your
for
page
me
on the internet, it says that you are environmentalist.
yeah, I'm a bit of a hippie.
What do you,
A big hippie.
what does it mean for you to be an environmentalist?
Yeah, so I like to contribute a lot of my time and energy into different kinds of fundraising and awareness raising for environmental charities. So I support quite regularly a charity called Tree Sisters, which
Is it
supports.
local British or is worldwide?
I think they're from Britain, or maybe in America, but yeah. So Tree Sisters is a charity that supports women's empowerment movements all over the world. So especially in countries that are suffering with third world sort of standards. Um, they empower women to learn new skills to do with planting trees and reforesting areas that have been damaged by people ripping down the rainforest, basically. So they're a great charity, and I have done quite a few shows on their behalf. Um, and yeah, I'm also vegan.
Can you tell us about it?
No worries. So for me, I've been vegetarian since I was a young teenager. I chose to become vegetarian when I was, I think, I don't know, about 13 maybe, but living in the countryside, you're always surrounded by animals, and I personally, I mean, I know everyone's opinions are different on this, but personally, I always felt that there was something wrong with me eating something that was alive. I never liked that, so I went vegetarian. And then a few years later, I started to connect with the idea of veganism, not eating any animal products.
Even honey,
Um, and
even milk.
no, no, none of that stuff. I know. Um, but they do have some super good vegan chocolate now, so I'm not missing out on that. And ice cream. Um, but yeah, I think a lot of different, I'm not going to go into the whole massive debate on veganism now, but for me, as a person who practices and teaches yoga, we have a philosophy that we live by, which is to not harm. And the word in ancient Sanskrit is ahisma, and that means non-violence. And that can look any way to anyone. You can translate that as whatever you want to, but for me, ahisma and non-violence means not harming any living creatures, and yeah, for me that kind of fed into my veganism, and I'm a lot happier and healthier for it now.
I see. Speaking about diet, people say when you do not eat meat or other animal products, you are missing some nutrition elements, you're missing some vitamins. How do you solve this issue with food? What's the diet for a healthy
Yeah,
vegan?
vegan. Yeah, cool. That's a great question. It's You can get everything that you need in excess from plant materials. So for protein, then you can get a massive amount of protein from vegetables like broccoli and from peas, which give you more protein than a lot of animal proteins would give you. And so that's like sort of, I think that's the thing that a lot of people worry about, is getting enough protein. But you can get lots of protein from soya, from tofu, from peas, from broccoli. And then the other thing that is missing from my diet potentially is vitamin B12. Um, and that is important to get. That you can get that from some animal proteins, and so that's why a lot of people feel that veganism might be deficient in vitamin B12. I've never had a problem with it myself, but you can get sort of fortified plant milk, so stuff like soya milk that's got vitamin B12 in it, or you can take supplement for vitamin B12 if you feel like you're lacking in it. There's also vitamin D. I'd take a supplement for vitamin D, but you get that from the sunshine. So just being out in the sun
Is
with
it really
your skin
enough? Is
exposed.
it really enough?
Yeah, so your body will make vitamin D from the sunshine. So when you don't get enough sun, then you can get a bit low on vitamin D. So when it's a bit rainy here in England, then you might get low on vitamin D. Um, but in the summer, yeah, you should be all
Is
right.
this vegan community big in Britain?
It's very big, yeah, and growing, which is awesome.
Are there any
Um,
like
I think
community websites related to this? Are you did you join
yes.
any?
Yeah, so I'm a part of an organisation called Viva, which is a vegan. Have a look on their website if you like. They do lots of campaigns. They protest against the dairy industry and the meat industry,
What's up with dairy?
and sort
Like
of
meat, I
like.
can understand, but what's up with dairy?
I think the product itself, dairy, is probably not massively bad for you, but we have these huge factory farms, and then they place the female cows under hormone injection to keep them constantly producing milk. So the cows have a really sad, horrible life that's often filled with a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. So drinking milk is not necessarily the bad thing, but it's the process of what it does to the animal. I think for me, that's the
So it's not the
no-no.
milk itself, it's the process.
So for me, then it's not the milk itself. I think other people might argue that dairy is not the best thing for you, but I don't think that it's been proven to be especially bad for you. But yeah, for me, it's the kindness to the animals.
I see. You know, can I ask you for a favor? I really like your song, Bright Eyes. Can you sing a little bit for us? Just the beginning of the song, maybe?
Yeah, do you want me to play it on my guitar?
Yeah, could work.
Bright eyes and they're wide open when he lies so close to me. These skies so old and noble, they haven't forgotten about me. We tell lies when we're young enough to just lose our minds over broken dreams. He tries to just mend my heart, and he hasn't forgotten about me. No, he hasn't forgotten about me.
That's very nice, I love it. I will put a link to this song in the description of this video. That's a wonderful song. You know, it has the words bright eyes, bright life, bright smile. What is bright life to you?
Yeah. So that song I wrote, it's kind of a metaphorical it's more of a poem set to music, but it's quite metaphorical and conceptual. But the idea behind that song was that we're a reflection of the earth and the beauty of the earth. And so to me, a bright life would be successfully connecting with our earth again, because at the moment we're just trying to desperately control the natural world to be at our whim, when we're always in the palm of Mother Earth's hand. And so once we've connected back to that reality and we've started to respect the earth, then I think we'll all be able to live brighter lives.
Thank you very much for being with us today. So we hope you have a bright life with your yoga, with your music, with everything.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
When I came upon Iron Maiden as a young kid, I fell in love with the sound. Yes, the distorted guitars and the heavy drums and everything, and the screaming vocals and everything. And I felt like, hey, if they can do it, so can I. Why shouldn't I be able to do this?
You can see the detailed information about our guests and the projects in the description section of this video. If you like our project and you want to support it, please share our page on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. If you're interested in joining the project, you can send me a direct message. Thank you for watching.